Hey, Scruffy. How you doing? It didn't rain. It's cloudy all day. I thought it was going to rain, but yeah, didn't rain. So I guess you're happy about that. So I have, let's see, your meaty pate with real chicken and tuna, your kibble, the last of the turkey giblets. Oh, you're coming in. And more of the fallen off meat of the turkey from the bones. So I think I have an endless supply of the fallen off meat, as I froze a bunch. It's not endless, but it just seems like it. Okay. So there was late last night, horrible smell coming, or it's trapped in one of the rooms of the house, or maybe two of them. I'm not sure where the smell came from. I'm still trying to figure it out, and I still haven't been able to get the smell out. I'm thinking it maybe a skunk or something walked by, and somehow the smell got into the house in one section, maybe through the heating system or the furnace or the ducts. I'm not sure. So right now, yeah, I was hoping it would go away overnight and through the day, but yeah, it's lingered all day. So right now I've opened up all the windows in that section of the house, and I turned on a fan to try to circulate the air. Unfortunately, it's cold, cold right now, so that part of the house is getting really, really cold. I'm hoping by the time I finish here with Scruffy, it'll be aired out enough that I can close it off and then turn on the furnace or something. Yeah, so I don't know what the smell is. It reminds me of a skunk. It also reminds me of something like burnt rubber or something. I think it's closer to a skunk. So I was wondering, yeah, if there was a skunk out here last night, and maybe he was interacting with Scruffy, but I looked around and I poked my head outside, and yeah, I didn't smell anything. At least in this area. So, and then I didn't see Scruffy at the time. So, the later on, I think I caught a glimpse of Scruffy in the dark on the table again, right before I went to bed. So I didn't hear any meows or any calls of distress. So I think Scruffy was okay. So I don't think he encountered a skunk or the skunk if there was one. And Scruffy doesn't smell, so he didn't get sprayed by a skunk. I don't see too many skunks in the area. I know they're around, but yeah, they're pretty good at staying hidden. And I do remember, I think it was a few months ago, I was on one of my bike rides, and there was I think it was a roadkill skunk. Yeah, it was in the middle of the street, a little bit off to the side, and I think, yeah, when I was approaching it, I didn't notice it until I was like very close, and I had to, make sure I didn't. I don't think it was actually in my way, but I think it was as passing by pretty close to it. It wasn't quite far enough over where I actually bike. So it was I think a little more in the center of the street than on the side where I ride. But after I passed it, then I really started smelling it because the wind was blowing blowing a certain direction, and yeah, so it was blowing with my travel direction. So after I passed it, then I really smelled the skunk. After I got downstream of it, and then I think when I returned, yeah, I could smell it coming back. So yeah, there's skunks in the area, but yeah, they're pretty good at staying hidden. And I remember when I lived in the college dorms a long time ago, Scruffy picked his foot up there to kind of grab the glove. So yeah, the complex I lived in had a rabbit problem. So they were rabbits all over the place. They just kept breeding and breeding, and they were just endless supply of rabbits. So everywhere you look, you see a rabbit. So that's where you needed the cats. Take care of the rabbit population. Yeah, oddly, I don't remember seeing any cats. So yeah, they somehow managed to keep the cats away, and the rabbits had free reign. So actually, my neighbor, this is a good number of years ago, and my neighbor caught or discovered a rabbit, I guess, running through their yard or something like that. And they believe the rabbit was probably owned by somebody, and then either the rabbit got away or the people just released the rabbit to fend for itself. So they decided to catch the rabbit and make it a pet. So yeah, it was a big floppy-eared rabbit. And yeah, pretty nice rabbit from what I saw. so I guess we get rabbits around here. Except for that one, I haven't seen him. But yeah, that one may have been a pet before. So yeah, I think I know they took it to the vet. I don't know if the vet was able to confirm that this was a prior pet or not. Get Scruffy's food now. Okay. So, yeah, I don't think I saw much of Scruffy today. He was out of sight most of the day. Can't remember. Did I see him on the table or not? I think if I did, it was later afternoon. Yeah. So actually, when I brought out his water and food for lunch, yeah, I didn't see him. So it was time, so I figured I'd just come out and see where he was. And yeah, he came around the corner of the. He was behind the big table, so he was nearby. Just yeah, he was out of sight this time. So I don't know. Maybe today he felt like he wanted to stay hidden. Oh, hey, Scruffy. Didn't see you. How you doing? Just wondering if you're out here. It's lunchtime. Yeah, no sun today, huh? I don't think it rained though. Okay, so got your water here. And your kibble. So let's see, I went for interval run today. I saw the friendly, I think it was the friendly cat on the way over to the park. So he was much further down the sidewalk than me, and he was walking in the same direction I was. So I could only see his rear from a distance. At some point, he ended up walking under a parked car. I thought he was, gonna hide there for a little bit. So after I walked past the car, I was looking under to see if I could spot him, and he wasn't there. So he managed to lose me somehow after he went under that car. So he must have. I don't know what he did. Somehow, yeah, he got out from under that car and I didn't see him. So I didn't get to interact with the friendly cat today. And yeah, it was kind of dark and gloomy all day. Actually, wasn't as cold as I expected. I think it's actually a little warmer than yesterday and previous days. So maybe all the clouds are insulating the heat, keeping the heat in. But yeah, I didn't see, except for the friendly cat, I didn't see many animals. Saw one big squirrel climb up a tree. Looked like, yeah, he was getting fattened up for the winter. Pretty good climber, though. So let's see. Oh yeah, a few days ago, I think the day when Scruffy threw up, I was starting to talk about. Well, I'd already talked about the established titles, quote unquote, scam that's been going around YouTube. So, or the uncovering of the quote unquote scam. So, yeah, there seems to be continued outrage. At least, people are talking about it on YouTube. All the all the YouTubers who are doing ads for them are being embarrassed or criticized. I was, I think, starting to talk about, a TV show called The Real Hustle. It's from the UK, and basically it was a hidden camera show where they run real scams and try to, trick real people on camera with these scams to kind of show you how they're done. And it reminded me of actually two different episodes they did. So the established titles thing seems to be almost a combination of two different scams that they showed on the show. So they did one scam that was all about the title, the lordship or ladyship, and how to extract money from that. And then there was another scam that basically sells a worthless plot of property, and and so you can kind of see how this other one basically they kind of combined the two and actually kind of streamlined it. So the lordship one they did on the Real Hustle was actually pretty complicated. Um, I heard there's actually this is an old scam in general. It used to one form of it used to just target tourists, and that's kind of what the established titles scam resembles more closely. But the one they ran on the Real Hustle was actually much more complicated and maybe a little less general. So what they did was um, they invited their target to what they thought was a seminar, but everyone in the seminar was a plant. And the idea was that they rented a rich or an expensive room in like some old looking building slash estate slash castle or something like that. But they played it off as if they own the place, and they basically were looking for somebody. So everyone in the audience uh, was purported to possibly be descended from some family line that had nobility, and so after they do their homework, their target, they discover that they actually have a certain percentage of nobility through their bloodline. And so the scam is that they purport that the owner of this estate wants to develop some land, but they won't allow him unless somebody with a nobility title, uh, or only somebody with a nobility title is allowed to develop on the estate. He doesn't have that. He owns the property, but he doesn't own a title. And so what he wants to do is basically buy a title from this target, and he's willing to pay, a whole bunch of money for the title. But the scam is basically for the title to work, this person needs to basically file the paperwork separately because they can't be commingled, I guess. And so that's going to cost him, £2,000 or something like that. And then this guy promises to pay £10,000 for the effort, so they'll walk away with £8,000 profit. But and basically the scam is to get the person to fork over the $2,000 for processing, and then they run with the money, and the person never gets their 10,000. So that's the first scam. And then the second scam is they were selling. So they went to a bridge. I think was it also in Scotland? I don't remember. But they went to a bridge, and basically they were saying, the bridge is sold in little pieces, and each owner of the little piece is entitled to a dividend for the bridge crossings, and that earns something like 3,000 pounds a year or something like that. So it's a great investment if you get in, but it's a limited thing. It's almost done like a lottery, um, and it only happens when the previous owner dies or needs to sell their shares. So you can't just go into the market and buy these things. And what happens is it's a pretty elaborate scam, but basically they have one of their members. She basically kind of meets some random guy on the street and then the others just starts engaging him, and then she explains that she's there because she won like a lottery or something to buy this section of bridge, and then what happens is this target, or who becomes kind of almost like a date now. He witnesses like all this transaction, and then the bridge people said are going to sell her the bridge piece, and then she brought her cousin to buy another piece. And the bridge people are expecting to sell two pieces, but when they find out the two are related, said no, you can't do that because we're not allowed to sell two pieces to related people. They have to be completely different, new, unrelated individuals. And so the idea is they're trying to sucker the target to buy the other bridge piece, which doesn't actually exist, and make the deal go through. And they're in a time crunch because they already announced it to the press. So there's time pressure. Gotta move the balls for the Scruffy. And so basically, he just needs to get, I think, $2,000 cash, and then in a month, he'll be able to collect the first dividend. And because they just automatically pay the dividends, and they don't prorate them, he'll actually be getting like $3,000 next month. So he gets basically a free $1,000 for waiting a month, and then he gets that $3,000 every year. That's at least what they tell him. And so they put the pressure on him, saying, it's a once in a lifetime deal. You can't miss out on it. And obviously, your date, what date is doing it, so it must be safe. And they pull out all the stops to sell this guy. He's actually, surprisingly suspicious and nervous, and he almost didn't do it. It looks like, but at the very end, he couldn't resist, and he forked over the money, and then they stole it. So they took his money, walked out on him. They actually left him in the waiting room, and they said, okay, we're going to bring out the first bridge owner, his date, and do the media interview there, and then we'll call you to do the other media interview. And what they did was they had somebody out in the hallway flashing a camera, and then an auto recording of basically a lot of people chattering, like reporters asking questions, and they let it play for a few minutes while they made their getaway. And then by the time the guy figured out that this was taking too long and got suspicious, he found basically the place where it was now vacated, and he found the tape recorder. So pretty nefarious stuff. Scruffy's taken off. I think yesterday he might find my open windows and doors to ventilate the other part of the house, so I might see him again later. Okay, folks, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.